Hey guys, I hope you're doing well today. I'm so excited because, as you can see, first of all, I'm not by myself today. I am here with Miss Rogue Reacts, and I'm so excited.
Hi
And this
guys.
is something we've been planning for like months now. I feel like it's been, I feel like it's been in talks for some time now. And you're probably wondering, well, actually, no, you're not, because it's in the title. We are actually going to be ranking twice
That's right, we
albums
are.
today.
That's right.
And I want to make it clear, we don't know each other's ranks. Like, we don't know
No,
who's put what
at
song
all.
where.
Zero. We did not discuss what our rankings were whatsoever. So it's gonna be so exciting to one see Maze's like rankings, but also like how if any of ours are going to match. That I think is the biggest thing. We both are like, are we gonna match on this at all? I
And
don't know.
if we do match, again, I need to preface that we literally have, like, not told anything about any of our, like,
Mm-mm.
choices, opinions, not even gave, like, a hint of
Nope.
anything. So so if we do match up and we are freaking out, that's why, because we've really gatekept, I guess, our opinions
Yeah.
for, like, since we actually started putting this whole thing in motion, basically.
Yeah, and this has been in planning for like months now, like beginning
Mhm.
of the year. Like
Beginning of the
I
year.
feel like it was like January, you like reached out and you're like, "Hey, do you want to like do this project?" And I was like, "Hell yeah. Yeah, I do."
Yeah, yeah, and,
Absolutely.
Now we're in, like, what? N end Nearly the end of
End of
May.
May.
I know,
It's
finally
taken
doing
us this
it.
long. We're finally doing it. It's all right. The plan for this video, though, we're gonna do two albums in this one. We're gonna do Story Begins, Page Two. Now there are gonna be some videos where it's just gonna be the one album because it's a long ass album, and we talk a lot,
Mhm,
so it could be a
mhm.
long video. So we're trying to like keep it spaced out where if it's a mini album and there's, 5, 6 songs on it, we might do two mini albums at the same time and then a full length album, of course, by itself. That's the plan. Now, it could change based off of
It
your feedback too. We'd love to hear your feedback on the format that we're doing here. If you guys enjoy it, let us know. If there's something you'd like us to change, absolutely let us know too, because we're customizing as we go. We're learning. This is a learning
we
process
are.
for both of
This is
us.
this is probably gonna be very messy because again, this is the first time we're
Nah,
doing this.
no.
But you know what? It's okay, you gotta start somewhere, you know? You gotta start somewhere and then you build up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna go right through. So when we say rankings, all right, we both agreed on this. This is not a like best song to worst song scenario. This is
Mhm.
our most repeated to least repeated. Like they're let's all agree, like Twice all has bops. Like they're all fantastic songs. But there are
True,
sometimes
true.
I'm in the mood for other songs versus another song based off like the album. So that's how we did our rankings. We're gonna
Yeah.
be going from the bottom, our least repeated song, to like our most repeated song, and we're gonna just talk about it, why we chose it, what was about that song that we maybe didn't connect with as much as say like another song, etc. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
just a fun little discussion. Hopefully you guys have fun, and then we'd love to see what your rankings are as well. That's one thing that we were talking
Yes.
about. We want to know, do you agree with me, do you agree with Maze, do you agree with none of us? Is that's it.
Because that could happen as well. You could
Oh
just be
yeah,
like, both of your opinions are
are wrong.
wrong. So that could happen as well,
No.
you know?
Yeah. So, we do have a nice fancy little setup here. I worked like a couple hours on this, so hopefully you guys like it. But we're gonna do like I'm gonna be live typing in. All right. So as we go through, we're gonna go back and forth. Let me get my document up so I know where I'm at. All right.
You
We're
know,
gonna
we are.
start with the Story Begins album. All right.
There we begin.
Number
Okay.
6 on the list. You want to go first? Go first.
I feel like a lot of people are not gonna be happy
Oh,
with what I
no,
put
this is
at
yours.
6, but for me, I had actually put Candy Boy at number 6.
Okay.
Uh, I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, "There's no way you put Candy Boy at number 6," and you know what? You're so right for that. But also, have you listened to The Story Begins before? Cause The Story Begins is so like, first of all, for a debut mini, it's so good.
It's so good.
Like listening back
Agreed.
to it, upon doing this video, I was like, wow, this is really like they really did the damn thing with this mini.
Mhm.
So the reason I put Candy Boy at the bottom is simply for the fact that it's just one song that I don't want to say that it's too much of a cutesy vibe that I just can't get behind because I actually do really enjoy it. But I think I listened to it too much
Mhm.
in my early days of like getting into Twice that it's just kind of become, you know, I think a bit of a skip for me. Like, oh, I've heard the song so many times
Oh,
that
yep.
I'd probably skip over and move on to the next
Mhm.
just because of that though.
Yep.
But that's my only reason. I don't think it's like there's anything wrong with it.
Mhm.
It's just personally, I'm like I listen to it too much, so that's why it's at the bottom for me.
Okay, so my number 6 is also Candy Boy.
There's no way.
Yep, no, it is. So the minute you said it, I was like, okay,
Okay.
okay. So, all right, we're starting this off real strong, guys. Okay, so I do agree with you actually. For me, I think that if like you've been on the channel for a while, you know I like more of like the heavier, like kind of rocker songs, kind of like
Mm,
EDM pop. This one did have that more cutesy vibe, but for me, it was the styling of how they did Boy. Like they went up so high. I don't know I
yeah.
don't know, my brain just wasn't connecting to it as much as some of the other songs. So like
Mm,
that part of like I think it's the chorus, right?
yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's just how they do the inflections. But I just also do love that Mina's opening up the song and it's adorable and I absolutely love it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, Mina, go. But it really like the chorus is really what kind of like puts it more towards the bottom for me on this. And I find myself skipping over it more on this album than like some of the other songs on the album. That so
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
again, it's like because my getting into K-pop, I'll be honest, I was like, I'm not with the cutesy vibes. Like, I'm not here
Mhm.
for cute. It's not my thing. But obviously, going back into Twice, obviously my Twice journey sadly is not on YouTube because I started doing reactions after I got into Twice. But
Yep.
to give you an idea, listening to things like this mini or like Cheer Up or Knock Knock, it made me be like, actually, maybe I do like the cute vibes. Maybe I shouldn't be so,
Mhm.
so negative towards it. But like I said with Candy Boy, it's just like a little cute where I just can't quite get behind it sometimes.
Mhm.
And it's like one of those ones where I have to be in like some sort of mood to listen to
Yes.
it.
Yep.
And that's why I tend to just kind of go past it sometimes if it comes on.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's it for me personally.
No, I agree. It is one that I find myself, especially when I'm listening to like my full Twice playlist, like all of the
Mm,
songs, because I have one on Spotify. That is one that I find myself being like, I'll just move on to the next. And I really think it's the chorus for me because the vibe of the song is very like upbeat. It's like a little bit of it is a bop, but it's just for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
my brain doesn't connect to the way that they sing in the chorus. So I find myself skipping over it a little bit more than other songs. But
Yeah.
yeah, what's your
I find
number?
that so
Yeah,
funny that the first one is both the same
of course it
already.
is. I was like, great.
Okay.
I'm not sure
I'm not
if everybody's watching like when they're watching this video, if they see my face because I'm like, okay, yep.
Okay, so for my fifth, I'm
Hmm.
not gonna lie, I'm gonna just say it now. For me, Candy Boy, I kind of had a feeling it was gonna be near the bottom,
Hmm.
but after that, I really was like, where am I gonna put things? And I put Going Crazy at number 5.
Okay.
And this was one of those things where I kept swapping this song around in particular. I kept like at one point it was number 1.
Hmm.
And then I went back again and I was like, you know what? I think I'd put this at number 5. And you know what it is? This is me getting on a tangent on
Hmm.
production. It's simply to me, it's not as much production as the rest of the album. To me, I
Okay.
feel like the other songs have a lot more a sound that I remember more than Going Crazy does.
Mm.
Like when I was going back and listening and I heard Going Crazy, I was like, I don't even remember listening to the song for the first time because
Hmm.
it'd been that long ago. So to me, it was like it's a good song, but it's just a song that I tend to forget about quite
Hmm.
a lot. And I don't know if that's because Twice has like a million songs and that's why I
It's
tend to
true.
forget about it, because that could probably be it. But that's personally why I put it at number 5.
Hmm.
for me.
No, interesting. I did not have it at number 5.
Okay.
My number 5 is Like a Fool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for me, okay, so it does have like a little bit of an acoustic type vibe, right? So it has a little bit
Mm,
of acoustic, has that little, I think it's like a harmonica that's in there. And then I do like Che's slower rap in it a lot, and that's why
mm,
it was hard for me to put it towards the bottom, because I love when she does that kind of like slower like type rap. And but I find myself needing to be in the mood to listen to the song.
right.
So that's why like will find myself occasionally like skipping it if I'm not in the right mood for that kind of like slower melody, because it does have that little bit of a acoustic-y type vibe. Not saying the whole song is, but just in my brain, like that's how it connects. But I do like Jung Young's little vocal flex in that song though, and it was very
Mm,
hard for me to put it
yeah.
low because I was like, yes, flex it out, let's go. But yeah, that's why I would put like that one as number 5 for me.
That's really interesting. I
Hmm.
mean, obviously, I know where that song is for me,
Yep.
so it'll be interesting when we get to that point. But
Hmm.
I get what you mean. It's like you know what it is with Twice songs. I'm realizing as we're doing this is some of them. It's like you have to be in a certain mood to be like, I would listen to this a
Yeah,
lot. And I'm not
absolutely.
saying this is just Twice. Like every K-pop group has this, where it's
Hmm.
like you listen to a song, like say like ITZY for example,
Yeah,
Sneakers comes on, you would be like, and you're like not in the best mood, it's probably not what you wanna listen to at that
true.
point.
Yep.
You're probably like, "I kinda need something a bit more chill," and not a really happy, upbeat, go
Yep.
lucky type song.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it is. I feel like that's what a lot of our reasons are gonna be for, like, the low at least for the lower ranking songs, not necessarily for, like, the top
Hmm.
ranking.
Hmm.
But I feel like for me, at least, I found myself in that pattern of, like, would I be in the mood to listen to this song more often than I do?
Correct.
Probably
Yeah.
not. So that's what it's like for me at least.
No, I completely agree. And that's, I think, one reason for like a fool for me is that for me personally, like I have to be in the mood to listen to this song like over and over again if it keeps coming up on a playlist. Sometimes I'll
Mm,
find myself, like I said, like just skipping it. And I think it's because it has that little bit of a slower beat to it. And
yeah.
a lot of times my brain really likes the like upbeat, high pop, like EDM house type vibe, even like, rock. And so when I
Yeah,
need to kind
yeah.
of sometimes be in the mood for those like slower, like acoustic, like lower, like melodies, as well as like a ballad. Ballads I
Mm,
have to be in the mood for. I love ballads, but I have to be in the mood for them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anytime there's a ballad, I'm just usually like, I don't feel like being depressed today. Skipping.
Like, "I'm not here for to cry right
I'm
now, I'm trying to have
here. I'm
fun."
trying to have fun. Don't need the tears. I'm already an emotional Pisces. I don't need more.
You don't
Um,
need it anymore.
no, definitely not. All right, what's your 4?
Mine is "Do It Again" for number
Okay,
4.
do it again. Okay,
Now,
yeah.
let me preface this now, "Do It Again" is an icon. She is an icon, she is such a good song,
Yeah.
she's so fun,
Mm-hmm.
and she also I mean, I know you've started watching it times or twice.
Yes.
She's used in that intro a lot, and I associate her with that show because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So not only does it like that song just gives me joy, but it just reminds me so much of Time to Twice.
Mm,
And it's like one of those things where it's like one of those songs where it will cheer me up.
yeah.
Like it genuinely, if I'm not feeling great and I do want to listen to a more high energy, it's one of those ones that definitely like boosts my mood. Or
Mm-hmm.
even working out, listening to Do It Again. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that, but I recommend it because it makes me feel like I can do things I normally could never do. So I would always recommend that.
Yeah,
But
I
the
see that.
chorus is just insanely catchy to me.
Yeah.
There's just something about it that like I guess I know a lot of people don't like it when the songs that have like some sort of cheering or chanting in it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's low-key one of my guilty pleasures in music.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
agree.
that's another reason why I really like Do It Again. Because also not to mention Twice chanting in their songs when they were in the beginning stages. It's just really cute to
It
hear.
is.
Like
It really is.
they just sound like not to say that they're old because they're not, but they just sound so young and so like new to it all, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So that's why for me, I personally just like that song a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But Um, that's where it is for now. And again, this mini was so hard to like pick.
Yes.
Like I said, I've been swapping my answers since this morning. I was saying to to Rogue before we started filming, even the morning of us filming this, I was still going back and changing my answers for a lot of the things
Hmm.
that we had. So that's where Do It Again is for me.
Okay. I totally get it. For me, it is not number 4. For me, number 4 is Going Crazy.
Mm.
If I can spell, today. Spell from Elise. So why I put it above the others. I absolutely love that Sana opens up this song. It's so good. She's just like a little gem. I just love her. Little happy pill. But it has such an interesting beat to my brain. And they match the cadence of the beat so well in their vocals. I can't just help just like bop along. And you're just bopping, and then you have like Nyan in in the chorus with the follow-up of Geo, and it's just so good. And you're just like, yes. And they just sound like, for a mini album, they just sound so good. Like all of them. I mean, you see improvement, of course, from everybody, but for a mini debut album, everybody sounds great. For me, at least. So this one also was a hard one. I think actually Page 2 was harder for me than Story Begins.
Right.
Yeah. But that's why like Going Crazy for me, I love the cadence of this song. The beat is so interesting for my brain. I'm like, yes, keep going.
That's so interesting as well, because to me, I said the production doesn't feel like it's there for me. And you're saying the production there's something about it that you really like. I just find that very interesting, how it's like, for me, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm seeing the vision, I guess, if you will, of like the production.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you really enjoy it. That's why this is so interesting to do, because it's just so like different takes and opinions on these songs.
Yeah, and like what we like about each song. Some of us, like you just said, like the production wasn't maybe up there for you, but for me, I was like, this cadence on this beat is so good. And then they're matching it with the vocals, like the cadence of that. I was like, yes. It just like, my brain was like, keep going. Please. Yes. So that was my number 4. That was my number 4.
Okay. So my number 3.
Okay.
This is where it got really like, oh, this is hard. But my number 3 is Like You Are.
Okay.
This song, I was like, there's no way I'm putting Like You Are at the bottom. Straight up. There's so many good things about this song. From the Geo high note, the Momo solo dance, like the entire song and MV itself, it's so good. It's such a good debut. And I feel like it's a debut a lot of people kind of sleep on a bit, low-key. That might be controversial. I don't know. Because I know Twice is a big group, obviously. So a lot of people might not agree with me that the debut's necessarily underrated. But I just feel like when people talk about some of the best debuts in K-pop, I never see Like You Are come up.
You know what? You're right. You're right. There's not a whole lot of it.
It does not come up that often.
It doesn't come. No, it doesn't. I never thought about that. It really doesn't.
Also, the Chewy's vocals in this song, I don't know what it is about her voice, but her little paw, but with her and Mina in the beginning.
Yep.
It like lives in my head rent free. There's something about their vocals in the song. Also, not to mention the Dubchang rap. I love a good back and forth rap between the two of them. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So again, that's another reason why I just think it's so good. It's just, for a debut song, it's so good. And like I said, there's just so many elements to it that I really, really like. So that's why for me, it's at number 3.
Okay. I like it. My number 3 is Do It Again. That's my number 3. For me, the beat has such such an early 2000s beat for me.
Right.
It kind of gives me that little bit of a like throwback feel, something that you would hear. Did you ever watch the movie like Space Jam? like back in the day.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the beat that I hear. Like that's what I associate
Yeah.
it with. Like it's that kind of a classic early 2000s, and my brain is just like, ah, yes, all right. I feel like I'm listening to like that soundtrack again. I'm just like bopping along,
Yeah.
be like, let's go. But I also love Momo rapping in that song.
Mm.
It was one of the when I was like first listening to this album back when I started the like Twice journey. It was the first time really kind of hearing Momo rap, and that's when she started becoming like part of the like first bias, and then of course some others added in. But because Momo was my like kind of like first bias. And so I was like, yes, this is great. I love this. And then having Jungyoung with the deeper vocals in the song too. I want her to do a rock album so bad. If she could do a rock, like punk rock all album, it would be so good. I know
Not to mention, Jungyoung has said she wants to do a rock concept. She said that before.
I know, and I want it.
I can't remember where she said it, but I know it was, I feel like I want to say it was like BuzzFeed or something. Yeah. But she did say it somewhere.
I know, like, as we get into later albums, we do get a kind of more, like, rockier songs. But I love when she goes into, like, that kind of, like, deeper tone and, like, sings in that lower register that she has. It's just so good. It's so good. Yeah, but that's why. It's just that's what the beat plus a couple of those extra little like vocal pieces in there. I just find myself listening to it. Also, I've been hearing the song a lot, like you said, because I'm doing like Time to Twice. So over on Patreon, and I just was like, yeah, no, I've heard it a couple of times. So I'm like, it's probably why it's like so catchy in my brain, because I keep on
because you hear it
so often. Yeah, but that's my number 3. That's why.
And again, for Do It Again, it, to me, like I said earlier, the reason I like it so much is it gives me that nostalgia feeling to it. Like, let's put it out there now. I've not been with Twice since they started. I wish I was. Yeah. But I've been with Twice. I have a whole history with Twice, but I just say to people I came across them when Formula of Love era was happening, because it's just easier than to explain my whole... I used to know, I listened to them when I was not into K-pop, and then I got into them again. It's just like a whole complicated story. Yeah. So I just like to say I got into Twice for Formula Love era onwards. So, I mean, I've been at Once for a couple of years now. I had this like revelation. I was like, I can't say I'm a baby Once anymore. Yeah. Because it's been like, what, 2 or 3 years since Formula of Love happened, which is insane to think about. So I don't get to have that like, oh, I'm still new to the fan. I'm not new.
You're not new. I'm new. You're not new.
You're new.
I'm the baby ones.
Yeah, you're the baby ones. I am not now. I am the retired and the been here for a minute one.
The retired. I can't.
And so, for me, it's just one of those songs. It just has that nostalgia that I really like about it. Again, like you said, kind of given like the Space Jam. Vibes. I definitely, now you've said that, I can just picture it being in the film altogether.
It would fit so well.
It would be so good. But going on,
what's your number 2?
Second one.
Top 2.
My number
I'm excited because we both have one that we haven't said yet, so I'm like wondering where you're gonna place it.
It's Truth.
Okay.
And let it just be known, if you watch me before, you'll see that I say this in every single video. I am a sucker for harmonies. I love harmonies so much. It's like, if you put a harmony in a song, I will instantly love that song. Doesn't matter if it has like a really trashy chorus, put harmonies in there, I'll love it. I'll eat it up. Like, that's just how it is.
Agreed.
And with Truth, especially the chorus, or even down to the ending, the last note, it's just layered vocals, which I absolutely love. Not to mention with Twice, you have 9 people. Yes. It is so hard to try and distinctively layer 9 people's voices in general. But I feel like with Truth, I can really hear each member differently. Like, when it's all layered, I can tell who's doing the higher pitch, the lower pitch, so on and so forth. And it's just a song I really love. Not to mention the guitar in it is so fun. Like, I don't know what it is about the guitar, 'cause it's so simple, but it's just so much fun,
Mm-hmm.
and it has this sort of like groovy vibe to it that
Mm-hmm.
it just sounds different to the rest of the album to me,
Yep.
which makes me really, really like it. So that's why for me, Truth is at number 2 because it's just got everything I really like
Yep.
put into a song. So that's
Love
why it's
it.
there for me.
Interesting. Okay. So that being said, my number 2 is like ooh ah.
Okay.
That is my number 2. I love the beat. Oh, absolutely. It's an iconic, like you hear it and it just, you're just like, yes, ready to go. But exactly what you said, the duo rap between Che and like Dion,
Mm,
so good. It's so good. And to
it's
have that
so
in a
good.
debut song, it's just like, oh, what else are they going to bring to the table type situation? If they're going to be doing this type of stuff, like what else is going to happen? And also, I
Yeah.
love Mina in the bridge. Like her little tone in that is so
Mm.
good, so good.
Mina
Um,
is quite literally, she is like the queen of
Bridges,
bridges.
yeah,
I've always said this.
1000%.
She's like, it's not a Twice song if you don't have Mina on the bridge at some
Bridge,
point.
yeah. I think
Like,
there
she's
is.
got to be there.
I think there is. Well, no, I think it's because there isn't a bridge on the song. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll talk about it, but I completely agree. Like she is kind of like the queen of bridges in pretty much all of their songs. She just has that kind of soft honey tone to her voice. It's just so
Yeah.
nice, and it switches up the
It's just so
song so
good.
well, because usually you kind of like, especially for the most part, there's sometimes not, but in the bridge, like you'll kind of like change the beat a little bit and it just like
Yeah.
changes that kind of mood, and she just fits it so well, like
You know
so
what?
well.
It's like she takes you out of the song for a minute.
Yes.
And it's like it's just you and Mina. Like, forget everything that you've
Fantastic.
just been
Oh
through. It's
yes,
just you and
absolutely.
Mina for that minute.
Part of the
That's
baseline.
what it
Let's go.
is.
Yeah, she just like takes you to this other worldly plane. And you're just like, yes, this is so good.
Like,
But it's so catchy for me. So catchy. That's
yeah.
why it's number 2 for me.
Again, I still argue my point I said earlier about like how I don't see people talking about it as a good
Yeah,
debut.
exactly.
I need people to start talking about it a
Yeah.
bit more. I know we're like 10 years later, but like, come on,
Uh,
bring it up in
and
conversation.
now that you mentioned it, I was like, wait, actually, you're right. Like I don't see a lot of people talking about this as like for a debut song.
Like, whenever I've seen threads on, like, Twitter, for example, because
Yeah.
that's more likely when you see them, when people are like, the best debuts in K-pop, I'll see groups like BTS, I'll see Blackpink, I'll see, just like a lot of iconic groups, and I'm like, yeah, where's Twice though?
Yep.
Where are
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Why aren't they in this list?
And I don't know, maybe it's because it for their, especially their earlier albums, like you were saying, they're very like cutesy pop in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it, and it's just not, sometimes it doesn't connect with people, because I know there's a lot of people out there that like more of like the harder pop, like like kind of
Yeah.
a like a dance pop versus like a cutesy pop. So maybe
Yeah,
that's why, I don't know.
maybe, because I feel like through the years, Twice has really like evolved from being like they were really on the cutesy vibe at the beginning, and you
Yeah.
see it through and through.
Oh,
And then they
1000%.
started going for the more dancey vibe.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe after What Is Love era, that's when we started getting the more dance. Like, we're still doing cute, but we're getting more like of a dance going out of here.
Yep.
And then we shift to fancy.
Oh yeah.
And I know there's a lot of debate about when did mature Twice start. A lot of people say more and more fancy. For me personally, I think it's fancy.
Yeah.
Just because I've never seen anyone talk about this, but have you ever seen like the jump of how they look from The Best Thing I Ever Did to Fancy?
You know what?
It's
Yeah.
like a couple months difference.
Yeah.
But they look completely like they've grown up suddenly in like the span of a few months.
You're like, you've grown up.
And I don't know, it's because because I know with Fancy they kind of teased the mature concept. They didn't really fully dive in. That's what more
Yeah.
and more was. So I understand why people say more and more
Mhm.
is the mature Twice, and then so on. We just get mature Twice more and more, as pun intended, as we go on.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, maybe you're right. Maybe because it was the really cutesy sort of vibe, people were like, it's it's not really there, but, like, come on, there's just so many good things
There's
about it, like,
so many good little things.
it's so good.
And, like, when you
Cool.
and anytime you hear it, you know 100%, even if you're not maybe a once or, not
Mm.
huge into Twice, like, if you heard, like, "Ooh Ah," you probably know it's Twice. Like, you've heard the
That
song.
I think that's the biggest thing with Twice. I always see people go, "Oh, I don't stan or I don't listen," but I know this song because it's very Twice sounding, and I'm like, "See, they're so well established in
Mhm,
this sort of era and sound they have that people who don't necessarily, I don't want to say don't like them, but just don't really listen to them,
mhm.
go, oh yeah, that's Twice." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they just have that established sound. Even to this day, like what, not nearly 9 years later,
yeah.
they still stick to their own thing, and it's just something I really like about them,
Mhm.
is that they
Agreed.
they still have that very much Twice vibe, but it's just more mature now.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and it makes sense too that they make that switch because if you think about it, when they're debuting 10 years ago, right? So it's like they're babies. And
Yeah,
now
I
they
mean,
are
like,
adults. Like having
quite
you have to
literally,
like have that little switch.
Chewie and Cheung was 16.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, that's wild. Absolutely wild. Um,
Even
yeah.
Diane was like,
Yeah,
what,
17,
18?
se-
17,
17,
18? She's
18?
like
A year,
I think,
right? Year or two older?
yeah, I think she was 17. So that's already 4 people you've got that are teenagers still
Hmm.
debuting. Like,
Yes.
that's so, it's just so crazy. And it's like, you, of course they do for the CUSA concept. Granted, you
Hmm.
got members like Nyan, who's older, and they probably do not want to be doing that. But they just, they did well with it what they had.
Yes.
Like, if you showed me like the like who are, say, like the debut showcase on
Yep.
Music Bank, I think they did it on.
I think so.
Um,
So.
I could not tell. I wouldn't be able to tell that half the members weren't having fun on stage.
Right.
Because they all just
Exactly.
look like they're having fun, and they're
Yeah.
just like, and they probably are because they debuted. They've
Right.
all worked hard,
They worked
especially the
hard.
likes of Gio, who's like trained for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's probably just glad she's actually on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny when you look at Twice interviews now, and they were like, "Oh, I hated doing like TT, or I hated doing
Yeah.
this cute style or song," because you just wouldn't think it when you
Right.
watch the stuff they do. They're
Yeah.
just so good
But
at like
also,
keeping it.
and that's another thing. That's a true professional right there too, because they can do any
Yeah.
concepts. And one, they crush it 100% of the time. And
Mhm.
two, you would just
Mhm.
never know that, hey, this isn't my vibe, but I'm gonna kill it anyways. Like,
Yeah,
type of situation.
I think it was Junghyun. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, I can't remember what video it was now. But she was singing with a fan, and they were watching like stages that they'd
Hmm.
done in the CUSA era of Twice, and she was like physically like cringing at the thought of doing TT ever again. She was like, I could never, like, that is so bad. That, and also, you know how everybody loves Junghyun with short hair,
Yeah.
like short hair,
Yeah.
like everybody knows. She hated it.
Oh, she absolutely hated it. 1000%.
But you would never know because
Yeah.
she didn't do it. Like, she didn't complain. She didn't say
No.
anything about it.
Yep.
But she hated it,
Hmm.
which is crazy because she looks amazing with it.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it's just crazy.
So interesting. All right, what's your number one? Actually, I know what your number one is,
Well,
and I want
I
to
was
hear
gonna say
your
at this
thoughts on
point,
this.
so obviously my number one, if you could not guess, is Like a Fool. Now it's actually really funny because when you were talking about why Like a Fool for you, it's like all the reasons why I love it.
Okay, yeah, go.
I am such a sucker for ballads and slow songs that I can listen to them anytime, anywhere. I could literally be in the happiest mood, but I want to go listen to Like a Fool. I want to have a
Hmm.
good crying session, even though I'm really happy. I just want to go have a good crying session. But let me tell you, the one thing that really pushed Like a Fool, it was the first time I heard Momo properly sing.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's not that I was like, Momo can't sing,
Hmm.
like, 'cause obviously she could, but it's her part specifically.
Hmm.
I think it's before Junghyun, if I can remember. But I remember
I think so.
watching
Yeah.
the stage they did where they're all on. I think it's the fan meeting,
Hmm.
and they were singing it live. And I remember hearing Momo, and I was so impressed. And I was like, give Momo her damn flowers because she can
Right?
sing. And
Yes.
the thing is, I always see it on Twitter, unfortunately, that Momo gets dragged a lot for not being able to sing, or she sounds horrible, whatever, you know? It's like one of those things,
Hmm.
you just see it all the time. And it's like, I just always think of that clip of her singing super well.
Hmm.
And then even in another stage, she did Nion's part, which is even more difficult to do,
Yeah.
but she did it with such ease. And the acoustic sound it
Hmm.
has is, again, something I really love. And it's something that I have a guilty pleasure of like listening to quite
Yeah.
a lot. But I love a good song that has a lot of high notes or good belting in it because I am a theatre kid by heart.
Yeah.
And so I love a good song that I could just, even though I can't, say the lyrics right half the time because I'm inconsiderate and incompetent to do that. I like singing along to it, even if
Yeah.
I don't get it 100% right.
Oh yeah.
And it's such a powerful song. And it's also got a special place in my heart because of when I was getting into Twice. I was
Hmm.
like not in the best headspace, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And with the song and it's, what it's talking about and stuff, it just really hit close to home. So that's why for me, it's number one. Because again, I'm a sucker for ballads at the end of the day. Like, put a
Yeah.
ballad on an album, I will gravitate towards that and
Yeah.
hold on to it. Like, I
See,
just love them so
you and
much.
I are the reverse.
Literally.
Like, don't get me
That's why
wrong.
I was like,
Like, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy ballads. I love like a good kind of like ballad, slow song, acoustic song, like a rock ballad, anything like that. But sometimes, like for me, my brain just like sometimes has to be in the mood for it.
mm,
Or I just find myself just going not like in a weird space, but just being like, interesting. And then like my brain kind of like goes off. So like I
yeah.
have to kind of be in the mood for it. Or if I need like a little break from like all of like the rock, like high pop, like dance pop EDM stuff, and I need like a little bit of a break, adding in that kind of like slower melody really
Mm.
helps. So but I get what you're saying, because I do really enjoy the acoustic like kind of sound to it, but it's just one of those songs that I just have to be in the mood for to
That's
listen
what was
to.
making me laugh when you were like, "I need to be in the mood," because I'm sitting here with it at number 1 being like, "Oh, I listen to this on the daily, like, this is so good, I listen to ballads all the time."
Yeah.
While you were saying you need to be in the right space, and I'm just like, "I just listen to it
Yeah, just I go.
whenever."
I send. Let's do it. All right. So, if you haven't guessed, my top song is Truth.
Mhm.
I for a hot second I thought you were also gonna have Truth as your top,
Let
and I
me
was just
I'll tell
like,
you now, Truth was number 1
oh really?
until, I wanna say 2 days ago, when I it was Truth and Like a Fool, they were the 2 ones I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, they're both so
So
good."
good.
But then I just went through it and I was like, I guess Like a Fool just about wins. Like, it's literally like they're both like here to me, really.
Yeah.
If I could put 2 in one place, I would have just done that. But to stick to the rules of the ranking, I was like, okay, I will put Truth just slightly,
Slightly
slightly
down. Yeah.
down to
So
what Like a Fool is.
So for like me, I completely agree with you. I love the funky bass beat, the like especially opening up
Mm,
the song in the beginning, and it goes like throughout the entire song. You get like that bass, and
yeah.
it's something that you don't hear in the album. Like it's the only song in the album where you get that like kind of like little funky bass beat. And then Che's rap is so good in the song. I'm
Mhm.
like, keep on going. And then you have Jonghyun doing this like kind of like rap piece, and it's just like or like faster singing, whatever it is. And I want to say she kind of raps a little bit. For me, it sounds more like
Yeah.
a rap melody. It like out of the blue, you're just like, wait a second, Jonghyun, what are you doing? Like, what is this? Hello?
You're like, "I'm not used to this. What
I'm
are you
not used to
doing?"
this. And then they just have like this great like little cadence in the chorus, especially when Geo like has like her lower tone. It is so damn good. I love when she
That's
sings in her
That's
lower
one
tone.
thing I don't know if I did say before, but it was also the lower vocals I really like about Truth.
Yes.
That's also why it's a
Yeah.
second place for me was because of that.
And I think that's why it connects so well to my brain, because I love singers that have like a lower vocal tone, like a little bit of a
Mm.
lower register. So like this whole song, everybody was kind of singing in that, especially like Jio and Jonghyun were like singing a little lower.
Mm.
And I was just like, yes, please, more. I need this.
There's
Oh,
just
so
something
good.
about women who can sing in the low register.
Oh.
It's just so good.
I melt every single time.
Literally,
Every time.
It's so good. And again, it's Truth. Like I said, Truth and Like a Fool were like here.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to like really put one behind the other.
Mhm.
And like I said, it was going back and forth.
Yep.
They kept switching. And it was just like, I was like, I can't keep switching because if so, I'm just not going to have an answer. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to show up and be like, psych, I have two number ones.
So what's interesting, that you say that is that you kept going back and forth. Truth immediately went to number one and never changed the entire time.
I think
It was
for
there.
me,
It
like,
locked in.
which is it's
solid.
Interesting because I just said Candy Boy was the one that instantly went bottom for me and never changed. That was
Yeah.
like the one I never moved.
Mhm.
And like we said at the start, just because the song is at the bottom doesn't mean we hate it or we think it's
Correct.
bad, okay?
Correct.
Just gotta refresh the brains, okay? Do not have a go at us in the comments, please. We do not think Candy Boy is a bad song.
it's just one that we just don't repeat as often. That's the thing. I just don't find
Exactly.
myself being like, so for me, a lot of times with this ranking, that when we were doing this and we were talking about it, I went in being like, all right, Candy Boy was not going to be a song like my brain's going to be like, yes, I want to go listen to Candy Boy like right now. That's kind of how I did my rankings, because it wasn't like one of those top songs that I consistently will hear, like find myself repeating or going back to. Like I said, not saying it's a bad song, because there's a lot of good qualities in that song that I really, really like. I just don't find myself going back to it being like, you know what? I really want to go listen to Candy Boy right now. It's not one of those songs.
Yeah.
Like,
and again, it's such an iconic song in Twice's discography.
Yeah.
It's so well known. A lot of people know it.
Yeah.
And as it should, because again, it's really good. But when you put Candy Boy next to something like Truth, to me, that's like Truth just out solo as Candy Boy by a lot of different things, but that's just personal taste and just the style and everything about it. That's what makes those songs so like, and again, they're so different styles. And like we said with Truth is so different from like the entirety of the mini album practically.
Yeah.
It's like the one, I don't want to say the throwaway song, but it's like the one song that they had just like somewhere and they were like, you know what? Let's just slap it on this mini and just give it to people.
Yeah, give it to the people. See where it goes.
And we thank them for that, because imagine a world where we didn't get Truth. Imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be so criminal.
Oh my word, it would. I would be so mad.
Bad.
I'm looking at the ranking right now, and I know you can't see it, but I'm seeing it.
By the way, I can't see it. In case anyone thought I could, I can't.
You can't. You can during the video, but since I'm not sharing this part of the screen, I'm sharing to you. I'm sharing it my face. Candy Boy is the only one that we had as for this album that we had in the same spot. We were close on Going Crazy. Going Crazy, I had number 4, you had number 5. So that could have easily have gone. Everything else was kind of like all over the place.
Yeah, as soon as you put Like a Fool again?
5.
As soon as you put it at 5, I was like, okay, this is already going to be widely different because mine's at number 1.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, this is going to be insanely different.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I love it. All right, like, okay, let's go remove page 2. So let me go roll up my doc for 2. All right, I'm ready. I'm here. Okay, so funny story. This morning, I was eating breakfast and I'm just double checking my rankings, making sure, looking over my little notes for this video. And then I was looking at a doc just to make sure I had all the songs. And I was like, wait a second. I'm missing a song on this album. I'm missing a song. Why don't I have a song on here? I was like, there's 7, but I only list 6 on my sheet. We forgot about I'm Gonna Be a Star. It's not on Spotify, guys. It is not on Spotify, so it's not something. But I messaged Maisie and was like, so did you rank I'm Gonna Be a Star on page 2? And you were like, we forgot.
I was like, what? I was like, what? I forgot the song existed, which I don't know how, because it's the most memeable
It is so
Twice song
memeable.
of all time.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but like the profile pictures of like Nayeon in like her face and the star.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen those, but like
Yes.
they're literally everywhere,
Yeah.
all times. You just see them everywhere. Like, it's such a memeable song that when Rogue reached out to me and said it, I was like, how did I, like, how
did we
I
forget?
actually just like forget? But again, it's not on Spotify.
No, and we were going off of our like Spotify like kind of like albums, and it's not on there. But then I looked at a doc, and then I was like, I saw it there, and I was just like, did we forget? Oops. Yeah. So in agreement, we're like, we're putting this at the bottom for both of us. Only because we didn't have enough time to kind of go through, and one, just for Nayeon's sake, my girl, I'm sorry. This is not your poor song. She hates this song so much.
If you're stan Twice, you know Nayeon despises the song. In fact, there's a clip, I think it's from not the tour they've just been doing, but the one before that, the fourth one, where I'm Gonna Be a Star won on the encore wheel, and she just looks so sad in the pigtails.
Oh my word!
Singing it, she looks so sad.
So sad.
While the rest of the members are like having the best time of their life.
She hates that song so much. So in honor of Nayeon, we put this last, but we were gonna talk about it anyways because it's actually kind of a bop. Because I was listening to it after I mentioned it, and I was like. I like, because I found it on YouTube, and I was like, wait a second, this is actually a bop, but I feel so bad for Nayeon that I have to kind of put it last.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where we were like, it was just like, I don't know how either of us forgot about it, but again, I want to blame on the fact we both were looking at our Spotify accounts.
Yes.
And that's why we forgot about it.
Yeah, I like, because I went off when I'm doing my rankings, I'll go into my Spotify and click on the album and just like start playing it through. And it's not on Spotify, guys. I don't know. It's a crime. But probably Nayeon was like, if you put that on Spotify, I swear.
I'm going to leave JYP Entertainment.
Listen, I'm going to leave. Yeah, I feel so bad for her, that song. But it's a good song, but that's her only line in the entire song. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
It's just like
you know, like genuinely right now, it's because I've not listened to the song. Like even when Rogue brought it up to me, I didn't go back and listen to it. I can't think of anyone else that says I'm gonna be a star except for Che at one point.
I think Che maybe does. I like briefly listened to the song like after I messaged you.
The rap and I'm gonna be a star has no right being so good.
Right.
The song it is.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's such a good rap, but it's put on I'm gonna be a star of all things.
Yeah, like, that's why I said it's a bop. It's just a bop that's not on Spotify.
But it's not on Spotify. Nayeon despises, and I think Nayeon would actually be mad at us if we ever dared to be like, that's number one.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. All right, so we'll go through like our actual rankings. We just wanted to put that out there for like number 7 didn't exist until like 2 hours ago because we're both like, whoops. But number 6 for you, go. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Tuk Tuk. Now, this is a song that when I heard, again, this kind of had the same effect as the last in Story Begins, where I was like, I don't really remember this song. And I think this is genuinely a song that somehow, and I swear, guys, I am a true once, I've somehow just like not listened to more than like 5 times. Because if I was to be so real, when I was listening to it again, when me and Rogue finally put this whole plan in motion to do this, I was like, I don't remember this song. Yeah. In any like, I don't remember anything about it. And when I listened to it again, it still didn't really have anything that was like, this stuck out to me, or this is why I think it deserves to be higher ranked. So by default of my own stupidity, really, that's why it's ranked at number 6 for me. Because I just simply forgot it existed.
Okay, interesting. Mine is Precious Love.
Really?
Yeah, if I can. And I will say this. I will say this album was very hard for me. Actually, it got harder as I went through their other albums, but this was the first album that was very hard. But Precious Love, there is something about that beat that my brain does not quite connect with. There is like there's like this drawn out kind of like electronic like piano key, I think it
Yeah.
is, and especially like towards the beginning of the song, and it kind of goes through the entire thing where my brain just kind of is like, I'm not quite sure about this. I'm not and the fact that I go back to like anytime I'm listening to the song, my brain immediately goes to that specific little piece versus listening to the vocals. That's why I sometimes will skip it, because I want to hear the vocals, but my brain is so stuck on this damn piano key that I keep on
Yeah.
hearing.
Like,
And I
you just
am like,
can't get out
I
of
can't
it.
get it out of my head. And even though the girls have such great vocals, like I like literally force myself to just be like, focus, Rogue, focus on the vocals, because they're so good. You have like Momo has like this softer, like lower tone in one bit. You have Nyan's rap that is fantastic, but my brain cannot get over that specific piano key that I keep on hearing throughout the song. For me, it just doesn't do it, and I tend to skip over the song. That's just for me, that's like, I don't know what it is. It's just not my favorite beat out of this entire playlist, like the entire
That's so
album.
interesting to me. I mean, I'm not gonna say where it is for me right now,
Okay,
but
yep.
that definitely did shock me when you said that. I was a bit like, really?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, and it's only the beat. Everything else about the song, I absolutely love. Like when I am like focusing in, like, but I think that's why also is because I have to put a little bit more brain into the song, because I have to like kind of tune out that piano key that like my brain is just like kind of like, I'm not quite sure about this, to be able to like to be able to appreciate all the vocals. And I, like I said, I love that Dion rap in there. It like is so good. But that's why it's like that's why it's on the bottom. It's only for the beat for me. It's only for the beat.
That's really interesting to me again. Like when you said that, I was like, let me listen. Let me listen out. Let me not say anything. Let me listen to the reasoning. And the thing is, before we started recording this, we were joking about, by the end of this video, about us not being friends anymore because of certain songs and phrases.
I know.
And that just made me think. I was like, damn, really? I mean,
really? This was a low song for you? Okay. I'm excited to see where you're going to have it. Oh no.
But for number 5,
yes,
I have Woohoo at number 5.
Okay.
With Woohoo, it was like one of those songs where I was like, again, I thought, have I heard this before? And then I literally, the moment it played, I was like, no, I have heard this before. And I really do like this one a lot. Again, I like the production on this one a lot. There's something about the drums, I think it is on it. There's something about the beat in it that it just like, it gets me grooving. I can't help but like do a little shoulder shimmy.
Yeah, a little shoulder shimmy, like, just kind of groove along.
Yeah, and with that alone, and then again, the thing that it does, which is what we just talked about on The Story Begins, is it has a lot of the cheering or the chanting in the song. And like I said, when Twice do that, it's just something about it. It's just really cute, and I just really like it because of that.
Yep.
But also the song, this is like something very specific, but Nyan's vocal tone in this song just seems different to me, but in a good way. And I don't know if it's just the way she pronounces some of the English words throughout the song, but there's something about it, about her vocal tone, that just kind of like, her voice just stands out to me compared to everybody else.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is. Like I legit was listening to it like over and over again, and I was like, what is it about what Nyan's doing in this song at least that makes me go and just like only kind of listen to what she sounds like compared to like everybody else. But overall, the song's just like super catchy. Again, it's another like upbeat one. It's still kind of in that place though of like, I kind of need to be in a better mood to put it on, for me at least. Like, it's not like one I would dismissively, like if I was like not in the best mood, I'd be like, no, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
But I would probably enjoy it more if I was in a happier mindset to put it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get it.
So that's why for me, that's our number 5.
Yep.
For me at least.
Number 5 for me. Also, woohoo.
Okay. You know what? I had a feeling either Woohoo or Tuk Tuk was going to be the same place for the both of us.
Yeah.
I had a feeling one of them was going to be the same.
I do agree with you on this song. I do enjoy the beat. The beat is nice. It has that little drum piece. I do like their little chant in there. Jungyoung's vocal tone I really enjoy. Same with Momo. Momo has the like a nice little piece, and Mina in the bridge once again, gorgeous, love. But I do agree it's not one of those songs that I find myself going back to. And when I was going through listening to the album, this was one of the songs, as well as Precious Love, that I was like, oh yeah, no, this is a Twice song. Like it's one that I don't listen to often.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, it is a fun, like upbeat song, and I almost put it a little higher, but then I was re-listening to some other songs and it moved down in my list because I do enjoy the beat of the song, but it's just not one that I find myself wanting to keep on going back over and over and listening to it.
Yeah.
But I love listening to it like once in a while, just to like be like, yeah, let's go. Let's groove out.
Yeah. I feel like for me as well, it's one of the few Twice songs that doesn't have the bridge be super impactful.
Yeah.
Like normally when Twice do bridges, they be building the bridges.
Yeah.
Almost, because they're just so good with it. But in Woohoo, when I was thinking of it prior to listening to it again, I was like, I don't even remember what the bridge goes like.
Yeah, and I think I think it's Mina. She has like this like soft lower vocal, but it's so similar to the rest of the song that it's not a drastic enough change.
It's not like, yeah, like you said earlier, it's not that like sort of like who are aspect where you kind of feel like you've been taken out of the song a second and you're just in a whole different place. It just kind of fits, and there's nothing wrong with it fitting into the rest of the song. Sometimes bridges don't need to drastically be different from the rest of the song, but it's just nice to have that little like moment, I guess, in the song sometimes.
Yeah, but it just kind of like switches it up.
I totally agree on that, though. I just think for me, it just didn't have like a big impact.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I had it at number 5. It's like kind of the same reasoning for me as well.
Okay, and then next at number 4, I have. This was one I listened to and I was like, wow, this is so good. How did I forget? And it was My Headphones On.
Okay.
This is one of those ones where I think it's the bridge and I think it's Gio's vocal moment. Is it Gio? Yeah, with the Nothing Gets Me Down part.
I think so,
There's something about her vocals there where, because it's only just the beat and Gio's vocals. But it's like that reminder, like that, listen, I am a main vocalist and I can sing the damn thing, you know? And it's like one of those things where, you know, she does such a pretty falsetto.
Yep.
And it sounds so nice and clean. And there's just something about it that I just really like. Granted, yes, I am geo-biased, so that might lean into that a bit. And I won't even deny that. That might be why I'm pushing to be like, but also it's just really pretty to listen to.
It is a pretty song.
And also, this is what Woohoo is lacking. The bridge is different from the rest of the song.
Yes.
The bridge?
Yes.
Because the song, you know, very upbeat, very happy, very cheerful, and the bridge just completely slows down. And then it builds up again, and then goes back to the more upbeat sound. And I just really like that production side of it. I just think that's a lot of fun.
I
that's
agree.
Why, personally, again, this was one of the songs I listened to, and I was like, this is so good. Why have I not been listening to it more?
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a good song. So that's why it's there for me.
Okay, number 4 for me. My Headphones On.
Oh no!
You said it, and I was just like, you said it, I was like, interesting. Interesting. What's funny though is because I was telling you at the beginning of before we started recording that some of my songs on page 2 changed. Like I kind of changed my ranking. This was one of them. I actually had this higher. I switched it out with one, and I'll tell you which one when we get there. But when I was going back and re-listening into the album a couple of times, I I was like, ooh, I like really, really enjoy. There's just like this little retro beat in this song
Yes.
that is just so good. And it's a little bit of a different vibe. You have like a great little like Mina moment in there. The Geo
Mm,
also, she's like, they're flexing. And I'm like, yes, like you are like the vocalist. Let's go.
yeah.
What else? There's a nice little like deep vocal from Momo that I really enjoyed too, that I wasn't
Mm,
expecting. And that's why I kind of had it high, because I mean, you have a geo bias. I have a bias line, so I have my little bias line of Momo, Nyan, and Mina. So anytime like I get little vocal flexes from them, I'm always like, yeah.
to be honest, I'm kind of the same. I say that because Gio's my old bias in K-pop. That's why I always
Yeah,
put her kind of like not above, but like that she is like my bias of biases,
yeah,
right? But following along her
yeah.
is Chewie and Chaeyoung. I
Okay,
don't know
yeah.
what happened, but at some point along the way, they both just kind of joined the line with
They just
Gio.
yep.
They just kind of joined, and they've just always been there. So, especially for Chewie, I want to say, whenever she gets any sort of vocal moments,
Mm.
I really enjoy
Oh,
that,
that's
and
kind of nice.
I will explain that more with a different thing in a bit.
Yeah.
And with Cheung again, Cheung like can do it all. She can sing, she can
Oh yeah,
rap,
absolutely.
she can
True
like
ace.
she's just
Yeah.
so it's like with Cheung, it's like one of those things where it's like yes, I love to see her rap, but I
Hmm.
also love to hear her vocals sometimes as
Yeah.
well. Same vice versa. Sometimes she might do vocals more than rapping, and I'm like, I kind of miss hearing the Che raps a bit,
Yeah.
and I kind of want to bring them back. So it's like I also kind of have a bias line that
Yep.
just slowly formed throughout like the last couple months.
I love that. See, there's nothing wrong with bias lines, people. Just
No,
letting
no,
you
not at
know.
all.
And there's so many when I like first started like the channel and everything. Everybody, what like I started. Of course, the Dreamcatcher was my first deep dive, and then we went into
Hmm.
Twice. I like that Dreamcatcher started the bias line like movement for me, because there's
Yeah,
like, and then it like kind of has gone throughout the whole like my whole journey. I for me, it's hard to pick one specific person, and
yeah,
I'll tend to fall in love with like one or two, like two or three, or just two,
mm,
because there's like just something about them that I just absolutely love. Whether it's a vocal, whether it's a rap, whether it's
yeah.
personality, there's just something about it. So I'm okay with the bias line movement. I'm not one that's
I
just like you have to have only one bias and one bias only, and then have
yeah,
wreckers. That's not
yeah.
no.
'Cause, like, for me, my biggest one is actually Le Sserafim.
Mm,
Originally, I was very, like, Sakura biased. I was like,
yeah.
that, like, Sakura, you know, she's just like, I just really love her. And as time went on and comebacks were happening and I was watching the variety content,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm getting bias wrecked by the entire group.
Yeah.
So I'm at this point with Le Sserafim now where I'm just OT5.
Yeah.
I don't even have just a bias. I just like the entire group
Yep.
because every day someone's attacking me for a different reason, you know.
Mhm.
One day it's like Yunche, she's just like being super adorable and cute as like an MC and I'm like, "Oh my god, let me put you in my pocket." And then the
Yes.
next day, Shay one's attacking me visually, and
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yep.
And I always joke a lot about this with me and Kazuha, because she's born the same year I am.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that's my O3 liner, you know, that's my
Mhm.
that's my homie.
Yep.
Cause like I just feel like that with any idol that's in like the same year as me. Like the same with Yuna from ITZY, I'm like, that's my bro, you know?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
cause we're born in the same year. And it just like with Le Sserafim, it just like became a thing where I was just like, I just like all of them for various different things.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can just stick to one person.
Mhm.
So they just became OT5 for me. At least that's what I'm like with them. But I've never done that with any other group. I think for majority of groups, I've kind of done the same thing as you, where I kind of have a bias line going on.
Yep.
Or at least I have two people that I'm definitely like, these two
Yeah.
attack me all the time.
All the time. Yep. Agreed. All right. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Precious Love.
Okay.
And this is why this one like surprised me when you said, where did you put it? 5, 6?
6. Yeah.
6?
Yep.
This really surprised me because I was like, it's not my favorite, but there's just something. You know what it is? I think the intro is just so interesting.
Mm.
Like, it's
Mhm.
so, like, you know, because it's Chaeyoung being like, I'm so sorry. Please come back, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, it's kind of joked about, but it's like one of those interests where I'm like, yeah, it's kind of memey, but also why do I really like it?
Yeah. No, I get
And
it.
also, chewy vocals. This is the thing I was gonna talk about
Mm.
earlier, but I didn't want to spoil my my where the song is. Chewy has this moment where she actually sings. I don't want to say like a high note, but she kind of sings a like she kind of belts a bit, which you don't see her do,
Yeah.
especially in the early days of Twice.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where in the song where I'm like, is like how for like a fool for me, that's when I was like, oh, Momo can definitely sing.
Yeah.
For me, Precious Love is like, oh yeah, Chewy's definitely a good singer. Not again. I'm not saying I never doubted them. I thought they weren't that good,
Hmm.
but because they don't get that many opportunities to shine,
Yeah.
it's like one of those
Especially
moments
the
that when
early
I hear it,
albums. Yeah.
yeah, in the early albums, it's like when I got to hear Chewy sing Precious Love for the first time, I was like, Chewy? Like, Mark-A Chewy? Like that one? Like, I was so impressed. And I was like, it's so good.
Hmm.
And it's funny enough, you said there's like a note that you don't, that it kind of messes with your brain.
Yeah.
It itches my brain in a good way. So when you were
I
talking
love
about how
it.
kind of like, you were like, you can't get past it, it's like one of those things that
Oh, man.
I'm so on board with.
Yep. Hey, that's a great thing about music though, because there's so many different like not everybody is going to like the exact same thing, right? It would be
Mm,
boring if we all did, right? And then
yeah.
it's having so many different like styles and different opinions on why we like it or maybe not like songs. I mean having
Mm,
like I like you just said, it itches your brain in the good way. It itches my brain in a not so good way. And it's just
mhm.
so interesting to see like how this transpired.
That's what I'm saying. That's why, like, I was laughing when you were saying how, like, that note specifically, you just can't get wrong. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, that's the part that I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so fun. I really like that.
You're like, oh, this is so good. All right. So for me, number 3 is Cheer Up.
Okay.
I'm interesting to see where you have Cheer Up here because we only have 2 left after this.
Because I
So
even got you often.
one Cheer Up is just one. It's a classic. Absolutely love it. Sana's Shy 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 is just so iconic and so good. And then you have like this like duo rap piece from, of course, from Che and Dion.
Hmm.
I absolutely love it. I don't know. There's just something about that song that it's just my brain in the best way possible. It has that
Hmm.
fun, upbeat. You have this great cadence that they sing in that kind of like matches that kind of tone for the song. I just, oh yes. And it's one. It like I said, it is a classic. It's just one.
Yeah.
It comes on and I'm vibing. I am bopping
I
along.
mean, not being funny, but Cheer Up is like Korea, like one of this may be controversial to say as well, but I don't really care. Like
Hmm.
one of those songs in Korea that every single Korean knows.
Yeah.
It's like, you know
It's.
how like for Girls' Generation,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know if you've seen this performance, but groups like Twice, Red
Mm-hmm.
Velvet, IOI, they all did a big collaborated stage and they sang I believe Girls' Generation's debut song. They all sang together, if I'm correct on that. But it was like
Yes.
this big
They did do.
stage.
They did do a stage. It was a huge stage because I watched it on
That,
Patreon. It was one of my Red Velvet videos. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. And it's like all
And
of them,
then
like literally all of
yeah.
them.
And then years later, you had in 2022, I believe,
Hmm.
the Mama Awards, you had New Jeans, Mix, Kepler,
Hmm.
Ive, Le Seraphim. You had all the groups that debuted that year doing Cheer Up.
Yeah.
And it's such a full cycle moment of a song, I feel,
Hmm.
to just kind of for Twice, just to know like that song, it is that song.
It's iconic.
Like,
It is
and
that song.
Cheer Up, I think, if I'm correct, feel free to correct me in the comments
Mm.
below. Cheer Up is what put Twice on the map a lot. Because there was
Mm.
just, I think it was more so with Sign with the Shy Shy Shy.
Oh, it's
Because it
so
was
good.
just so
Songs.
like, so iconic and just so like cute and just everything about it
It's
was
just
so good.
adorable.
It really like, it just like blew up
Hmm.
their people knowing of them, I'd like to say. But again, I could be wrong. Maybe they were already big from the moment they debuted. I'm not too sure. But I feel like, excuse me, from what I saw, or from what I've seen, Cheer
Hmm.
Up was really like what put them on the map
Yeah.
in Korea at least, and in Japan actually as well.
Yeah. I would be interested to find that out. Let us know. Like, if you know, like, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it.
Hmm.
Because as you know, like, I'm a baby once. Means is like a retired ish, but not
Trying to be
that.
nice about it.
But not like not from the beginning. So like we neither of us have been there from the start of
Yeah.
Twice, and we'd love to know like if you've gone through the whole Twice journey from like debut like on, do you feel that Cheer Up is like that song, like that iconic
Yeah,
song
yeah.
that kind of drew more, I wouldn't even say attention, but maybe more spotlight to Twice
Yeah.
in a way? Because I mean, yeah, you had 16, of course, like that emotionally wrecked me. I know it did you as well.
Hmm.
But having that show and then going into like these two mini albums, was Cheer Up actually the one that kind of like brought them into the spotlight versus Ooh Ah?
Yeah. And it's interesting because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when Rogue was just starting the Twice journey,
Mm,
I had reached out and was like, "Listen, anything on Twice you need, I got
did.
you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here, I'm sat, whatever you need." I would also tease Rogue a lot when it came to 16 because I would tease what was to come.
Yeah.
I wouldn't spoil anything for her, but she'd be like, "Oh, I really like this," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure.
Hmm.
You're really gonna like this," and
And then I would
especially
message
with
you and be like, what happened?
and so,
I also,
because I feel like this we talked about it a lot that this
mm,
video might be a surprise to a lot of people because a lot of people might not know that we know each other.
yeah.
But me and Rogue have been friends now for like
Almost like
what,
a year, right?
a year or
Like the
so?
beginning of my Twice deep dive journey,
Yeah,
pretty
like,
much.
and I think it started on Twitter. If
Twitter,
I'm
yeah.
Twitter's
Yep.
where it all started. So,
Twitter's
I've like
semi-great, guys. You can meet a bunch of cool, awesome people, but then there's also trashy people on there. Be careful.
just don't interact with the trashy people. Just stick
Yeah,
with the cool people.
just keep the
But
cool people, us.
so it's been fun. I mean, as it probably is for you guys as well, watching Rogue's journey with Twice again. I really regret that mine is not documented anywhere
Mm,
because I would have loved, especially with Twice being my old group of all things as well. I would
mm,
have loved to have seen what I was like when I was falling in love with them for the first time.
yep.
It's one of those things I always said on YouTube. I always like, I wish I just started doing it sooner, but the whole concept of reacting just wasn't in my brain at
Yeah.
that point.
Yep.
It was only once I got to Twice that I started watching other reacting channels, and I was like, that
Mm,
actually looks kind of fun.
mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna start doing that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are now, really. But
Yeah.
just to give you an idea, I have been with Rogue since like the beginning of the Twice journey.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at here.
So it's been a while. Like we've talked Twice quite often, and so
Mm,
this has been something that we, like I said, it's been months in the making, and we're finally like have time. Both of us have time to like do it. The holidays are like the winter holidays are over. We're approaching summer. We thought this would be a fun little summer project for us. So
mm.
yeah, it's fun. All right, what's your
That
number
and
two? What's your number
yeah.
two?
My number 2 is Cheer Up.
Okay. All right. Yep.
And as we were just talking about, Cheer Up is so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
It is possibly it's definitely top 3, top 5, top 3 title tracks of
Mm-hmm.
all time for Twice for me.
Ready?
There's just something about Cheer Up, and I got one thing and one thing to say. Mina Bridge.
Oh, the Mina Bridge. Oh, that's right.
First of all,
Yes.
if you've like
So
for some
good.
reason never watched like the music video alone, I think you should because there's just a scene where it's just Mina and she looks really beautiful and she's singing. And she's got
gorgeous.
the wind blowing in her hair.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it's actually just ingrained into my brain. Like whenever I hear Cheer Up, I just envision that scene, that
Mina. I
just
love
Mina. And again,
No.
I'm a sucker for big belting high notes. So when after the Mina Bridge, I don't know how obvious it is if you
Mhm.
don't really care for, like, ad-libs and stuff, but you can hear Geo popping off in the
Oh,
background
yeah,
when it gets to the last
1000%.
chorus,
Yeah.
I
Yep.
and it's one of my favorite things. My thing with Twice is they have this formula where they always have big endings to their title tracks, whether
Mhm.
it's, like, ad-libs or whatever, and it's the thing I love the most, and
Mhm.
it's, like, the thing I nearly look forward to really when Twice have a title track. I'm like, I can't wait to hear as much as I don't want the song to end, I can't wait to hear what the ending is gonna sound like because it's always,
Epic.
even with, like, recently, One Spark,
Mhm.
um, that had a lot of intense and insane, like, ad-libs and high notes from Geo and Nyan.
Mhm.
Like, if you ever take the time to just kind of focus on the background vocals, they go off like
Yeah.
crazy.
I
And so for
love the
me
background vocals. Oh, so good.
Cheer Up, and again, the Shy Shy Shy.
It's shy, shy,
It's
shy.
too good.
It's so
And
good.
I
Little
also
happy pill.
like, the back and forth with Chewie and Sana.
Mm.
Um, like,
Yep.
just before Sana does the Shy Shy Shy, I don't know what
Mhm.
it is, but Chewie's, like, vocal tone, it's just so cute how she pronounced the words.
Yep.
And I'm just like, "Again, let me put you in my pocket, just so, like, let me just put you in there." But, it's such a good song, and the Dubchang rap, again, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
a good back and forth between the two of them.
Mhm.
I would love for them to do it more again because I feel like they haven't done it in a minute. At least in, like, a title track, they haven't really done it
No.
in some time, so I would love for them to bring that back again, you know, JYP Entertainment, I don't know if you're watching this, but if you are,
Bring it
just
back,
maybe
please.
maybe consider. But, yeah, there's just so many aspects to it that I'm just like, "This is such a good song." Damn
Mhm.
production. The production's just like chef's kiss. Like, I wish I could like have been in the studio, a fly on the wall to see them make it. Like,
Mm.
that's how good I think the production is. But that's why that's the number 2 for me.
Yeah. I do agree with you on the vocal layering, like, having those ad libs in the background. I feel like it
Mm,
for me, just throughout all of the albums, I feel like um Geo and Nyan take most of that on is the ad libs.
yeah.
And you really notice it in this song, like coming out of the gate, and you're like, oh no, like what's gonna come next? Like if you're having these type of
Right.
like ad libs like towards the end with like Geo, like what are you going to like get in like later albums as we start like developing more like vocal style
Right,
and
because let's keep
everything?
in mind, Page 2 came out in 2016. That is
Yeah,
the year Twice debuted.
yeah, yeah, because they had two
Like,
mini albums, right, that year?
yeah,
Yeah,
they did Like Who Are, or sorry, A Story Begins, and then Page 2.
yeah,
So this is like
baby.
debut, like we're rookies, we're new, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
And you already have something like that. Like that's just it's
Mm-hmm.
so crazy to me.
Yep.
And again, like you said, it just makes you wonder what the hell is the rest of the albums gonna be like in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that was when I was first doing like when I started the Twice deep dive and was like listening to like these albums. I just remember being like, a lot of them, like the vocals were so good that I was like, what kind of vocals am I going to get later on? Like, what are we going to
Mm,
develop to? And I'm so happy that we like saw some great development with like Sana's vocals, Chewie's vocals, like Momo's vocals. You see like all the
yeah.
growth. I mean, you already had really like Nyan, Geo, and Jonghyun being like not, I wouldn't say seasoned vocalists, but their vocals were the most, for me, like mature, like developed in a way,
Yeah.
being maybe because they were
Yeah.
been trainees for a lot longer. So especially
Yeah.
Geo, like being a trainee for like friggin' like 10 years pretty much. Like she was like having that, you could tell that they've had a lot of training and have like finally made it to the point where like their vocals, yes, I have still are developing, but they're still top notch. And
Yeah.
in two debut, like in a debut album, like from Story Begins to Page 2, like you said, same year. Like both of these
It's
albums were their debut year. It's wild.
and it's like, and again, like we were just
Hmm.
discussing before about Cheer possibly being that, I guess
Hmm.
that spark that really
Hmm.
made people be more like, let me look into this group. Let
Yeah.
me check them out more. Again, crazy because like I said, having The Story Begins be your like debut mini, and it's so good.
Hmm.
Like I feel like a lot of people, I'm not like saying all K-pop groups do this, but a lot of people, and not just K-pop actually, just artists in general, when they are releasing their first album or their first EP, they like to play it safe. So they'll have one big song, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and then the side tracks or the B-sides or whatever will be kind of simple, just because they want to play it safe. They just want to have, they don't want to go too far, they don't want to go too much, because they don't know how people are going to respond.
Yep.
Again, I'm not like saying this happens to every group. I'm just
Right.
saying some groups, whether in K-pop, Western music,
Mm-hmm.
even like J-pop, like literally any music genre, style, whatever. A lot of people do that, and that's perfectly fine. You just want to kind of you want to get your ground, your foot in the music industry,
Yeah.
and you want to just see what do people want to hear from me. That's what it is. And with The Story Begins, I feel like they really just like, again, Truth is so different
Mm-hmm.
from the rest of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it fits.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I don't listen to it and go, that seems out of place.
No.
Like, I listen to it and I go, that is a good song, and I'm glad they put it in there, because it just kind of gives you, like, almost like a break in a way from the rest of, like, the album when you're listening to it.
I would agree.
It's like
I
that
think that's why I love it so much.
It's like that little side step of, like, let's just chill, let's just groove for a bit.
Yeah.
And then go back to the story begins.
Yep.
Like, that's just how I feel it is for me, at least.
I agree. So my number 2 is Tuk Tok.
Oh, okay.
Which I was very surprised all of a sudden when you were like, it's my number 6. And I was like, I have this so high. I was like,
Well, I mean, that was literally me when you said Precious Love. I was like,
so
huh?
I absolutely love all the little rap pieces in this song. I'm a rap girly. I love my rappers. Like, I think like in this channel, everybody knows that. But that is one of these. And like, I wouldn't say like the chorus piece is like my favorite, but the rap makes up for it. And I just absolutely love Momo's little drawn out note that she does towards the end of the song. And then you have Jonghyun like follow it up. I don't know if it's the second verse. I'm pretty sure it's the second verse. And just like that little follow up, like it's a note that I hadn't heard from her yet. And I was just like,
Yeah.
And then you have all those like just like little rap pieces. My brain just absolutely loves it. It was so good. I'm like, yes. But
Again.
this is the song that was number 4. And then I switched it with
okay.
it. Actually, my headphones on was number 2. And I kept on listening to this song and my brain just kept wanting to like re-listen to it. And I was like, I gotta flip them. So technically my original, when I was going through, my headphones on was number 2 and Tuk Tok was number 4. And then I flip-flopped them.
Right.
Last night.
And it must have been very like, what do
Yeah,
I
kept listening, and then I was like, I don't know, there's just something about the little rap pieces in that song, and then I just kept getting drawn towards the end of that song, just like you said, like the end of the song was like, it's just like sometimes they have great endings to their songs.
Yeah.
And it was just that Momo to Jonghyun lead up was so good, and it's something that I hadn't heard yet, especially from Momo, that I just kept wanting to go back and re-listen to it because of that. Maybe it's because that's my Momo bias coming through, and I just wanted to like keep on hearing it. Probably.
Again,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mostly, like I said, my reason for it being at 6 wasn't necessarily that I was like, oh, I just don't vibe with it. I just don't think I've listened to the song more than compared to like literally any other Twice song, not just in Page 2. I mean, this is probably the Twice song I've listened to the least. And I couldn't even give you like a reason why. Sometimes with groups that have so many songs released, I'll listen to one that I haven't heard in like months, and I'll be like, oh my god, I forgot they had that. Because they just have so many songs. And you put songs in different I mean, maybe you're like me and you kind of just have everything in one playlist. Because I kind of get told from my community all the time that I'm a maniac for doing that. And I should have playlists.
I have so many different playlists.
I have anything I listen to, any K-pop, anything I check out for the first time, all goes into one playlist. And it's like, it's easily like, I think like 700 hours long.
Yeah.
So songs, sometimes I won't hear them for quite a long time because my shuffle is just not putting it
Yeah.
there, and then I'll hear it again and I'll go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this song." And I think
Mhm.
that's just kind of where I was with that one. So that's why I just didn't have much to say on it
Yep.
because it wasn't one that I was like very familiar with, I guess,
Mhm.
compared to the rest.
Yep.
But with that being said, I mean, the last one is we both have the same,
We
right?
do. Yes, we do.
We have the same,
We
which
do.
is
Touchdown.
Miss Touchdown. This song,
It's so good.
I there's a stage. What's it from? It's from a concert. Is it Twice Light? It might be. I don't know if
I
you've
think it's
seen
Twice
this.
Lights because I remember watching a bunch of like special clips and like from like concerts and
Mm,
stuff, and Touchdown was one that I had multiple in there because I just love the
yeah.
song. So I think I know where you're going
Well,
with this.
Geo and Nyan in this bridge
Mm-hmm.
is so insane, and hearing it live is like, if you guys know what I'm talking about, the Twice Lights concert, it's like they all form in the line. You've got Nyan singing, and Geo goes off to the side, like she walks off while she's still singing, and then she just like when it gets to know, she just really like builds it up from like I want to say her chest voice all the way up to her like higher register, her head voice even. But she does it so well, and it's so
Oh, it's
satisfying to
so good.
listen to that honestly, even if Touchdown, again, this might be that song, like how I said, imagine there was like a song where it's like the rest of it was bad, but the bridge is so good, I would still enjoy it.
Yeah.
If I was that case with Touchdown, where I was like, I don't like the rest of the song, but the bridge is that good, I would still listen to it all the time.
Yep.
But the thing is, I actually just like Touchdown through and through. I don't hate the chorus or anything.
Yeah.
It's such a good song, and there's so many things about it, but the bridge is really what like
Oh my
makes it
word.
just so good to me.
It's so good. And
Like
yet
it's
the
so
Nyan going from Nyan to Geo and having like that, it's so nice. And then you have like this great beat, and then you add in these horns throughout the song. And it's
the
not
horns is so
so good.
good.
And then it's not
It's
even throughout
so
the whole
good.
song. It's just like in random spots, but you're just like it adds just such this different layer to it. And then you were mentioning the chanting. I think it was like what in Woohoo was it?
Yeah.
Where you're like, ooh, like I like the like when they do that. That's what I love. What another piece I love about this song is like they're
Mhm.
counting, like one like going all the way to 10,
Yeah.
and then it's such a fun song, and when you see it like a performance of it, it's even
I was gonna
better.
say, I know we're talking about how the song sounds, but if I could just be so real quick, have you ever seen the choreography to
Oh
Touchdown?
yeah, no, it's
Because
wild.
they quite literally are counting while doing all kinds, and I'm like, how are you pointing the right fingers? I'd be like 5,
5,
2, like I'd be
3, like
pointing.
what? Yeah.
I would not be pointing the right fingers. So it's one of those songs where I was like, if we were to count like choreography on top of these songs,
Yeah.
it's just so good. And again, it's one of
Mm.
those songs where it's like I would do just about anything really to see it live or listen to it live or hear it live.
Yeah, because you've seen them in
Like
concert. Hi, Alls. You come
I
join
have I
the
have
party?
seen them in concert. I
Yeah,
saw them in
I would
September
love
of
to.
last
Oh my
year.
word. Yeah,
And you have to.
I know.
I literally I came out my Twice concert, and I think I tweeted this. I was like, if you have not gone seen Twice and you're thinking about it, please
Just
go.
go.
Even if you just don't know them that well, get a ticket. Don't even need to be like up close. Be as far away as you like. Be at the back. Whatever you've got to do, you have to experience it because it's just there's something about the
Mm,
just seeing them live is just like
yeah,
you see it on music bank stages. They give so much energy,
yeah,
and seeing them in person, my lord, bro, they're just constantly going, and it's like, when do they stop?
yep.
Like, I think for me at my concert, there was a point where we went more and more, Moonlight Sunrise, Brave, um they just kept going, and I was like, when are we gonna have a break? Like, I need a break. I'm not even performing, but I'm tired. like
It's like I'm getting
like
exhausted. What?
and they're so constantly going, and I actually think now I think they took more and more actually out of the set list because how
Mm,
much they were doing, because not only was more and more on the set list, the dance break changed,
yeah,
and it was even more intense. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm very lucky and blessed I got to see that live. I will never take that for granted. But it's like, again, they just do so much, and it's
Mm.
like, how do you have the energy to keep going?
Yeah,
And I
their
feel like
stamina is
Touchdown,
wild. Yeah.
it's wild, and, you know, I would love, not to be more greedy than I already am, because I've already seen them, I would love if they somehow incorporated Touchdown into the set list or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It would be so good to see live.
Yeah, I agree. There's just something about this song. It just is just so catchy. And I find myself just bopping every single time. You just cannot
Again,
driving, windows down, just bopping
literally,
along, just yelling it out, just counting along with
yeah,
them. It's so good.
literally, I'm sitting there like, yeah, 5, 4,
4, 3,
like, I'm
2. Yeah. 5,
like,
4,
I'm
3,
like,
2, 1. Touchdown.
like
Yeah.
it's just, it's so good, and I'm glad that you also put this at 1, because I was
Yeah.
really thinking about it, and I was like, I have no idea where Rogue is gonna put this,
Yeah.
but I want to hope that you at least put it in like the top 3.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you put it in number 1, because so did I.
You know what? So funny. This is just a funny story. We've had some like planning calls, like how are we gonna do this,
Mm.
like kind of like structure wise, like what albums are we gonna do for like each like video, and then we were talking about how like when are we going to see like very much similarities, and it's like right off the bat because we're like that one time where we're both gonna have the number 1 and it's the second album.
Like, we were thinking, oh, this might happen, like,
It might
I don't know,
happen.
Eyes Wide
Open maybe
then, and it's literally page 2.
page 2. And we both had what in Story Begins, we both had the Candy Boy as our least repeated song.
And again, I want to preface this to people watching. We really did not, and I mean it, we did not show each other anything.
Nothing.
Like, we strictly were like, let's just not tell each other, and then we're just gonna
chat about it. Yeah, full send. Full send, let's go.
We're gonna go over it.
Yeah.
And so that's why you've seen both our reactions when one of us has said something like Touchdown, for example, or like Rogue saying Precious Love is at 6, and me being like, damn, we're trying not to give away where mine is.
Yeah.
Or same vice versa, you know, me putting a song somewhere and Rogue's like, what?
Like it was TikTok. I was like, interesting. Okay.
I'm like, you need to question that a bit, I think.
Yeah, I just love the little rap pieces, and Dion's like fast rap in that song is just so good. So good. But yeah, no guys, this is it. We went through 2 albums. I think we have like an hour and a half worth of stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, but
honestly, treat this as a podcast even if you want to.
Yeah.
Just put it on. You know, we're just 2 people yapping.
Just chatting. Just yapping about Twice.
And like, you know, even like, I know a lot of people watch reactive videos as well because they have a sense of comfort. At least I get these comments quite a lot. People watch my videos because it feels like they have a friend.
Yeah, same.
Them, which those melt my heart, by the way.
Oh my word, yes. Those are the best comments.
For real. And so again, this has been such a fun thing, and again, I remember reaching out to Rogue because Rogue was just finishing the Twice deep dive, so I knew she hadn't listened to all the Twice albums yet, but I was like, when you've done, do you want to like
do a fun video? Yeah. And then we we kind of put it on the back burner. We met like literally, it was towards the end of my deep dive. You reached out and was like, hey, I'd love to like do like a fun little project. And then it like kind of like went on the back burner. I then switched over to the Mamamoo deep dive. And then like towards the end of the Mamamoo deep dive, you like reached back down. You're like, so I've been really thinking about this. Maybe do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And then I will say, because I am going to be starting the Japanese albums. I already told you this over on Patreon. So we're planning on doing the Japanese albums too, because by the time we're finished with probably all of these, I'll probably have already listened to the Japanese albums. We can just tack those on too. So that's the hope and dream here.
That's the hope, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this isn't like a one-time thing and then we're never going to do it again. This is actually going to be kind of continuous.
Yeah, we're going through all the albums.
Because Twice don't sleep. So what do? They just drop albums after albums. In fact, Nyan Solo is literally like in like 2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
3 weeks?
3 weeks?
Like
3 weeks, right?
It's like just under 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's mid-June, right? It's the 15th? 15,
Yeah,
16?
so just like under 3 weeks. So even then, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Twice have a Japanese album coming out too, just like
Yeah,
just, you know,
it's fine.
casual, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is like a series that we hope to just do as much as we can because
Yeah.
it's like this has been so much fun
Yeah.
because it's just
Same.
talking about, you know, a group that we both really listen to and we both love, and you know, having, you know, different opinions makes it interesting. If me and Rogue were quite literally the same, it would have been insane if every option was the same. Like, that would have actually been to the point of, like, maybe we did cheat and just didn't realize or something.
Yeah.
But, like, it was honestly, I had so much fun doing this.
I also had a blast. Hopefully you
again,
guys
like
did
you
too.
said,
Hopefully you guys did
hopefully,
too.
yeah. Hopefully you guys
The
were able
hour
to
and a
sit
half worth
through.
of us just like just gushing about different pieces of songs and our different facial reactions. Because I'm watching you and I was just like, I think when I said Precious Love, I saw your face and I was like, oh, Maisie has it a lot higher than I do. This is gonna be an interesting experience.
I can't hide the way I feel either. I'm
It's
so
so funny.
bad at that.
Yeah.
So when we have different opinions, you can just tell because
Yeah.
I don't even hide it. I'm
Yeah.
so bad at like trying to be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Interesting.
the only
Do tell more.
to tell me why, because I don't agree.
Yeah, it's so funny. But guys, thank you. We do appreciate it. Let us know, one, in the comments, what your rankings would be. Do you maybe have some agreement with myself, with Mies? Like, do you have a completely different lineup? We'd love to hear them. That's just something that I think is so fun about music, is that everybody has their own like music taste. So a lot of people will have like different rankings, and that's why we did this little project. We thought it would be a lot of fun. But as well, let us know if there's anything that you'd like us to switch up. Like, is this a good format? Because we're going to be going through all the albums. Like, literally, we have all of the albums on deck. When we get them recorded, we don't know. So it's not going to be a series that's going to be like every week. When we both have time, we're gonna go in. I think I'm a little more ahead of you currently in my rankings. Just a little bit. Okay. I think I can't remember. I think I'm on like More and More album.
Yeah, because right, me and Rogue, we both were like, we'll do the story begins on page 2. So I went, great, I'm gonna listen to them too. And then Rogue came back to me and went, I go all the way to More and More. I was just about barely getting through the story begins.
I gremlined one night. I was just jamming and I was like, let's keep going. I was just like sitting on the couch, I had my laptop, I was like vibing. Ollie was like sleeping next to me and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna keep on going. I want to keep on more, like, listening to some more Twice. Let's go. So and I just went all the way through to the More and More album. It's so funny.
Got so far ahead of me.
You were like, I gotta catch up. I was like, yeah, you do. Let's go,
yeah,
dude.
you do. Come on.
Let's go.
What are you doing?
But yeah, that's the plan. Like, we're thinking. We'll probably, I would say, in hope that we would try to put out a couple of these a month, but it's not going to be something that you'll see like every week. I'm super busy. I know Mies is busy too. So when we both have like days like where we can squeeze this in, that's what we're going to try to do.
The biggest issue, if anything, is the time zone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yes.
Because like for me right now, as we are wrapping this up, it is 6:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
6:30 p.m.
Yeah,
and for you, that's like what,
1:30. Yeah, it's 1:30.
So it's also finding that balance of like a good time for the both of us.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're doing. This is it. This is hopefully you guys had fun watching this little series. We love you guys. Thank you for joining in. We really appreciate it. So thank you. Hopefully you guys all have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll catch you on that next video. Later.
Indeed.